Hi there, this is Julie Hyde, and thanks for joining us on webinar 1 of our 3-part webinar series, What Everyone Should Know About Leadership in Business. I trust that you will get some great insights into effective leadership strategies for the 3 key areas of your business that we're going to be covering off on, which is a leader, team, and marketplace. Leadership is a really hot topic right now. It's a buzzword that many people use to describe themselves. And I'm more referring to the term leader, similar to expert. So everyone's an expert, and apparently if you have the title of a leader, then you actually are a leader. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. I don't believe that we have a leadership culture. If everyone who claimed to be a leader was a true leader, then we certainly would. I also believe something very wrong has happened to our society. I, for one, am scared to turn on the news these days because I'm worried about what atrocity I'm going to hear about. Is it media hype? Maybe, but there seems to be an increase in occurrence that warrants the hype. I don't know what has gone wrong. I do have my views, which I might share with you later. But first of all, just let me tell you a little bit about myself and my business so you know who's going to be speaking with you over the next couple of weeks. So my name is Julie Hyde and my business is Distinctive Leadership. And I first started Distinctive Leadership in 2007. We predominantly work with professional service firms, so small to medium enterprise. I've been a student of leadership for the past 20 years, probably more like my whole life. And Distinctive Leadership was designed for the small to medium enterprise in mind, for the sole trader with big plans for their business, the entrepreneur who has grown their business to the point that they have needed to employ staff, which is incredibly exciting for them, and for the business leader who is growing a successful business with a team of people, their brand ambassadors, employed to take care of their clients and business operations. And also for the leader in the corporate environment leading an organisational unit towards a common goal. Distinctive Leadership works side by side these businesses, providing them with a system to improve their profits through leadership. I created Distinctive Leadership based on my past experiences, drawing on my successes, mistakes, feedback, learnings, observations I made of my leaders and industry leaders, studies and research. I personally have over 20 years experience leading teams large and small. This was in the financial services industry, mainly in the retail space. And my leadership roles included sales, strategic, change management, project roles, sales and transformational coaching. I enjoyed great success in my leadership roles, and I think something that is incredibly important when you are looking for someone to assist you in your business is that that person has proven, runs on the board, so they've got proven results and hands-on experience in what you're wanting help in. And I have over 20 years of leadership experience, and that is what I work with my clients on. It's getting the best out of themselves as a leader, in improving their leadership skills to get the best out of their team, and also to position themselves very effectively in their marketplace, which is the focus of our 3 webinars. As leaders in business, I believe we have such a wonderful opportunity to make a difference in people's lives and in society as a whole. I believe by being a conscious leader, starting with the outcome in mind, we can achieve great success. People now need to understand what their leader stands for and what the compelling reason why it is that they should follow them. If they understand the why, then they will follow. So this includes, of course, your team of people in your workplace and those in your marketplace, your clients and your stakeholders. What leaders means to us changes with time, just as leaders themselves change. And great leaders go a step further and transform their followers into leaders. And this is our vision at Distinctive Leadership, to create a dynamic culture of leadership. So before the global financial crisis, life was good. It was abundant, it was fast, it was competitive, it was dynamic and plentiful. And it was relatively easy for business. We moved through the unsettling period of the financial crisis, which caused a majority of business people to really reflect on how they do business. Our landscape changed dramatically, and people had to be creative and innovative and smart if they were to survive this downturn, especially in the professional services industry. We're now moving into another period of change, where there are 5 key things on business leaders' minds right now, which is the interest rate increases, number 1, the Australian dollar being on parity with the US dollar, the US economy, the changing government in Australia and also in Victoria, and the increasing challenges faced by retail business. And if you're listening to this in a year's time, these 5 things may well be replaced with another 5 concerns. But there's always going to be something happening and changing in our economy. Because the new economy that we're now in is one of constant change that brings an increased level of consciousness, and it demands leadership. How well you adapt as a leader and your level of proactivity will determine your success. Leaders need to be effective change leaders, and this requirement does not look like it's going to change. Leaders also need to be great communicators, because leaders determine the culture of their business, and leadership demands self-awareness and vision. So leadership is not a suit that you put on in the morning and take off at night. It is a way of life. And as a leader, you cannot be perfect. You may want to be, you may try to be, but it is pretty much impossible to be perfect. But what we're going to take you through on the webinar today is really focus on 3 key areas and give you some tools for your toolbox that you can implement straight away to make a difference to your leadership, to make changes if necessary, and to build on the leadership style that you currently have. As a leader, you're the captain of your ship. You navigate your identity. You navigate and identify your obstacles, and you change direction if required, ensuring that you reach your final destination. Your passengers and crew are depending on you. So the focus over the next 3 weeks, as I said before, is today we're focusing on leader of leader. Next week we're going to be focusing on leader of team, so how to get the best out of your people. And on the 1st of December, we're going to be focusing on leader of marketplace. And all of these things are designed to give you back as a leader more time to be doing the things that you want to be doing and know you should be doing in your business. More profits, because you're getting better results out of your team and yourself. And more power back into your business. putting you in the position of real, true, and effective leadership. So for the purpose of the webinar today, I'm going to focus on leadership in business, but keep in the back of your mind that leadership extends way beyond business. If you're a true leader, you'll be a leader in your personal life also. I'm a firm believer of one life, and it's how you balance your expectations to provide you fulfillment and happiness. So you're a leader in society, at home, to your kids, your friends, your peers, your colleagues and your clients, and the list goes on. And as I said before, I'm not for 1 second saying that leaders are this perfect, shiny, flawless individual. Not at all. That is incredibly boring. And if we didn't make mistakes, we would not be learning. And this poor perfect person would not grow. Leadership is less about what we know and more about what we are willing to discover, which is a great quote by Diane Branson. And as a leader, you'll make some pearly mistakes. But you'll only make mistakes if you're doing real work and getting things done. And if that makes you feel better, then good, because it certainly made me feel better. However, it's a true test of a leader when they do make a mistake, when they are under pressure or in a stressful situation, their true character comes out. And it's really interesting to observe how people handle those situations. So let's jump into it and let's focus on leader of leader. So as a leader in business, it all starts with you. If you want to grow your business, you need to demonstrate great leadership. So as the leader, you create the direction, the culture, the values, the purpose, and success of your business. This is no different if you're a leader of an organisational unit in a large corporate environment. You will, if you have worked in those environments, you will have experienced great leaders and worked in great parts of the business, which is a direct reflection on the leadership and is certainly influenced by the leader. So in Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about spending the time and energy within our circle of influence in order to increase proactivity. And proactivity is a key thing that is required for effective leadership. So rather than spending time in our circle of concern. So let me explain a little bit. Leaders should focus all of their efforts in the circle of influence. They work on the things that they could do something about. So the things that they can do something about is themselves. They can only control them and how they respond and react to the situations that they're placed in. So they can handle how they communicate, what their behaviours are, how they respond both verbally and in writing. Reactive people, on the other hand, focus their efforts in the circle of concern. So their focus is very much on the weakness of others, the problems in the environment, and the circumstances of which they have no control. They will focus on blame, justification, use reactive language and defensive behaviour. Now, do you know anyone like that? No, of course not. But we don't have any control over our environment or of others, but we can certainly influence how we respond in any situation. And leadership is a state of mind. It is a mindset. What you can influence is your thoughts and your actions as a leader and how you handle yourself in any situation. So what I'm going to focus on today are 3 key areas of leadership. The first one is leadership style. The second one is starting with the outcome in mind, which is a direct link to having crystal clear communication. And these are three key areas that we work with our clients on, and also when we offer our clients the complimentary leadership success audit, we focus on those key areas as well and get people working on those. So let's have a look at leadership style, and let me go through the different types of leadership styles with you. In 1939, Kurt Lewin led a team of researchers to identify different styles of leadership. From this study, 3 categories were determined, and these are autocratic leaders, democratic leaders, or free-rein leaders. An autocratic leader is summarised as telling people what to do and how to do it without seeking any input. So you're basically dictating to people what they should be doing and how they should be doing it. Democratic leaders. This leader involves key employees in the decision-making process. However, the leader remains the final decision-making authority, so it's very inclusive. And free-rein leaders. This leader allows the employees to make decisions. However, the leader still has the responsibility for the decision, or he may not make a decision at all. So basically, the employees have free rein to do whatever it is that they're doing, but the responsibility still rests with the leader. Now, there is a place for all styles of leadership in an organisation, depending on the situation at hand. It also depends on what the skill level of your employees, how much time you have to make a decision, who has the information you need to make the decision, and do you have enough information. Also, it very much comes down to the relationships that you have with your team. Is the relationship based on mutual respect? So these things are all need to be taken into consideration. Now, which of these do you believe is the most effective leadership style? Now, you can type that into the chat box if you can, and you'll find that on the left-hand side. Just type in, what do you think, from your experience and maybe reflecting on your style, what do you believe is the most effective style of leadership? Okay, so a couple of people have put democratic and a couple of people have put free rein. Absolutely. Now, there's no wrong answer, but typically the most effective style of leadership is democratic, because by involving your team in the creation of, say, the vision of the business, the values, what the desired culture is, how you service your clients, provides the team with a sense of involvement and ownership. You can certainly direct the conversation, and that's why it's critical to have a very clear picture in your mind of what success looks like, and we'll cover that off in a moment. But by being inclusive as a leader, by getting people's buy-in, by asking for their opinion, and by all accounts, when people are asked for their input, they're not necessarily put out if their opinion or their recommendation is not taken on board all the time. The fact is that they have been asked and they have been heard. So they've been given an opportunity to provide their voice, and they feel as though they have been heard, so therefore valued. How you behave as a leader is the telling sign. It doesn't matter what you say, it's the execution that counts. So you can say you're going to involve your staff, but if you put people down or cut them down, dismiss their suggestions, you're simply being an autocratic leader, which is not empowering or inspiring at all. So which one do you want to be known for? I link this directly back to your leadership legacy. Now, it's something I encourage you to think about now. It's commonly thought about when people retire or they leave an organisation for whatever reason, or they leave the planet. But what difference do you want to make to your people, to your business, to society? How do you want to be remembered? When you leave your business for whatever reason, what do you want people to say about you? Think about it. What do you want to be remembered for? Write down some of the words that come to mind. Take a minute to do it now. It's really important. These will also link to your values and also link to your leadership brand. But this is all about starting with the end in mind. So if you want to be known as an inspiring, courageous, a mentor, decision maker, confident leader, then how do you need to behave? What are the things that you need to be doing? There may be some things you'll need to stop, start, change, and continue. So if you draw a quadrant on a page, and in the top right hand box you put stop, below that in the bottom right you put start, the left bottom hand change, and top left hand continue. Make a list of these things. This is all about conscious leadership. So once you've determined your style and your legacy, keep it top of mind. Remind yourself daily that this is who you are and act accordingly, regardless of how you're feeling. Leadership is all about consistency. So what does success look like for you as a leader? What is your vision for your leadership? What do you stand for and what don't you stand for? What is the culture that you would like to create? These are all critical questions for leadership, and something that we take our people through when they request a leadership consultation with us. These are really big questions for leaders and something that they need to be very mindful of. These are really big questions, and it certainly is jumping onto our next point, which is starting with the outcome in mind. And starting with the outcome in mind is something that any successful entrepreneur, leader, or business owner does. As a top athlete visualizes their routine, including accepting the gold medal, for example, from start to finish. Great business leaders do the same. They start with the end in mind. So let me share a story with you of someone who didn't start with the end in mind and created quite a mess. It's a client of mine who I started working with a while ago, and she engaged me because she experienced quite a horrific situation when she was forced to go on leave. She had a team of 5 senior leaders. Now, while she was away, her team literally imploded. Decisions were not made, people turned on each other, and there was no clear direction or strategy in place. So people were tussling over the leadership rights. Performance suffered, and so did the greater team. It was a really awful and unsettling time for the team, and the evidence of that was escalated sick leave. Their client suffered also. The realization for this leader was that the business was totally dependent on her because she set it up this way. She was the glue that held the business together. She had not empowered her leaders to make decisions, and there was no clear hierarchy in place, and there was not a contingency plan in place for emergencies. So this was a huge and very costly lesson for her. She didn't think with the outcome in mind. She hadn't considered that she wouldn't be there. So she wasn't building a business that was sustainable regardless of whether she was there or not. She built a business that was totally reliant on her. Now, do you want that to happen to you? When you're away from the business for whatever reason, workflow should continue, sales should be made, and marketing should continue. Your team should understand their expectations and be empowered to make decisions in your absence, for example. Your clients shouldn't notice a difference, and the greater team should should notice a difference if you are leading a large team. So once you have determined your direction and you have absolute clarity in what you stand for as a leader, and equally as important what you don't stand for, you need to implement a structure to support your leadership. Structure is crucial to the success of a leader and for the business success. Effective, inspirational, and empowering leadership doesn't just happen. It needs to be planned. Some balk at structure, believing it's micromanagement, and that could not be further from the truth. As a leader, you need to ensure that you have planned time, as I call it, on the balcony. I refer to the balcony in the dance floor analogy. So the dance floor is where, it all happens. There's lots of bumping and grinding, and it's noisy, it's hectic, and it's really hot and crowded. It's very hard to get off the dance floor. So imagine, you're on a dance floor at a packed, nightclub or at a dance somewhere. Just imagine being trapped right in the middle. It's really hard to get off, and people want to keep you there, and you can't see your way clear. The balcony, on the other hand, is a much more controlled environment. It's quieter up there, and you can observe what's going on below. You can observe what's happening in your business. You are elevated above the noise and activity, enabling you to see what your business needs. What's happening that you don't want to happen? What's not happening that you need to happen? By being on the balcony, it allows you to do what you need to do and know that you want to do in your business. Being on the balcony means that you get to spend time on your business. And this is one of the critical mistakes that many business leaders make. They don't make time to spend on the business. And this is absolutely in your circle of influence, which is what I was discussing before. So why do so many people resist getting up on that balcony? Time. And I'll let you in on a little secret. You will never get the time. You need to make the time. We all have 24 hours in a day. How you use that time is up to you. Have you ever wondered why some people are more productive than others? Structure and furthermore discipline is the key to success. Absolutely ensure that you have a robust structure in place to support your leadership. It was the absolute key to my success when I was a leader of a large team. I had 130 people. I had 26 direct reports, and they were spread remotely across Melbourne. When I first got into my role, I was being quite a reactive leader. I was getting pulled in all directions by clients, by staff, by my leaders, by not knowing what I was doing. But I was getting pulled in all directions, and I felt like I felt like I was a duck or a swan swimming against the tide in a rapidly flowing river. Beneath the surface, my legs were paddling so fast. Above the surface, I was looking pretty well preened, but I can tell you I was exhausted. And it wasn't until now a great friend of mine, but my leader at the time, said to me that I needed to implement a structure to ensure that I'm covering off on the key areas of my business that I need to be focused on. And if I did implement a structure, I would have so much time back. I didn't actually believe him at the time, but I thought anything's got to be better than what I'm experiencing now. So I did implement a structure, and I guarantee you that was the key to my success in turning a very poor performing business around to the top performing business in the state at the time. And also brought my blood pressure down a lot. We've actually developed a program around structure, totally focused on structure for leaders, called the 7 Days of Leadership. And that is a program that's available on our website under the programs area. And it gives you some great insights into the types of activities you should be implementing into, a week or a month into your structure so that you can achieve really great business success. So I recommend you jump on that. It's an absolute steal, and also includes some coaching time with me. So that is starting with the outcome in mind and also implementing a great structure to support your leadership. So that was a little bonus there about structure. So now let's jump into crystal clear communication, which is the third point, which is critical to the success of leadership. So clear and efficient communication is fundamental to effective leadership. How you inspire people towards a vision, a common goal, ensuring each understands the integral role they play will determine your results. As a leader, you are the captain of your ship. You determine the course, you navigate obstacles and change direction if required until you reach your destination. As I mentioned before, people need to understand the compelling reason why they should follow you. And this comes down to how you communicate. Lack of or poor communication in the workplace can be detrimental to morale, productivity, and retention of staff and clients. So you think about the breakdown of a personal relationship. 99% of the time, it is a result of a breakdown of communications. Your success is based on the foundation of relationships. Therefore, good communication is critical. And with the Distinctive Leadership Program, communication is the absolute basis of the success to our program. This is something that we really have a laser focus on, because it is so critical to success, and also because business is facing so much change, communication is so critical to effective change management. To get your communication right will play a massive part in transitioning your business through change, and your people. People are curious. They're naturally curious. They like to know what is going on. As leaders, as people, we generally have a preference to communicate with people the way we like to be communicated with. And in general, you may be detail orientated or you may be big picture focused, using two contrasts. The detail person will frustrate the big picture communicator because they will communicate in way too much detail. The big picture person just wants high level information. The detail person doesn't understand or doesn't know how to communicate in that way. As a leader, you'll be dealing with many different personalities, requiring different modes of communication. No doubt you have employed people that are similar or different to you, to complement your skill set. You need to be able to adapt your leadership style to get better outcomes, both written and verbal. And of course, how effective your communication is will be a direct result of how clear you are on your vision and direction, what you stand for as a leader, and what your leadership brand is, what your expectations are, and how you communicate with yourself. So communication needs to be frequent and concise in business to achieve optimal results. If the leader isn't clear on their message, their values, their strategies, and process, then how can they communicate them effectively? You may think that you're doing a great job, but are you really? So there's a fantastic book called Leadership and Self-Deception by the Abinger Group. It is a fantastic read, a really fantastic read, and I recommend that you read this and really concentrate on the messages, the communication messages in that book. Now, linked to communication is ensuring that you align expectations. So that means aligning expectations of your expectations with your team's expectations and also your clients' expectations. As a leader, you need to be confident in your communication and do it frequently. So communicating your expectations of your team, for example, it's crucial to the outcomes and of building great relationships. Often business leaders will say to me, why won't people do what they're meant to be doing? Why do I have to be on their back all the time? Why? And they say this in really quite an exasperated state because they just don't know. So let me share with you why. More than likely, your team does not understand your expectations, so are making up their own rules. Now, I've seen this play out in many workplaces and many environments that I have been part of as well. When people do not clearly understand what success looks like for them, they will interpret their own version of success. And one person's view of success is very different to another's. And this is where problems arise. Do your team understand what is expected from them? Not only in terms of outcomes, but how they behave within your business. Do they understand your client service proposition? Do they understand the culture and the role that they play to support it? Do they know how to achieve the outcomes, the KPIs, the targets that you have in place for them? What does success look like for them as a team and as an individual? When I have asked my clients that question, the common answer is, I think they do. And when my client explains to me what they are expecting of an individual, I will ask if that person knows this with a response of they should. And perhaps they should. But if you as a leader has not been explicit about the expectations that you have of how they are supported, what your business policy and procedures are, and how they can meet your expectations, then they don't know what they are. In some instances, the leader doesn't know what they are either. It's just that they have an expectation that a person does something. Now, this is where it's imperative to have a clear vision for your business and what success looks like. And by not having this can be a really big cause of disputes in the workplace when expectations are not aligning. As a leader, you need to ensure that you have a robust performance management process in place to manage your people and the business performance. The last point I've got down there, which is really important, is by communicating with clarity, by being very concise with your communication, very concise around the expectations, what you're actually doing is providing people with a choice. They have a choice to meet your expectations or not, but it is their choice. They are in control of that. And of course, if they meet your expectations and the business objectives, then there's reward. If they don't, then there might be consequence, whatever is appropriate for your business. Okay, so to recap, what we have spoken about today is totally focused on being a leader of self. And it's all about defining your leadership style and being conscious of the legacy that you are creating. It is starting with the outcome in mind and implementing a robust structure to support your leadership strategies and to have absolute crystal clear communication. So they are the key things for being a leader of leader. In a lot of those elements that I've discussed today, business leaders just don't understand or don't realize that this is critical to the success of their business. So this is certainly something that business leaders need to know, but don't necessarily know how to do it. So if you have been listening today and the key points that I've raised have raised questions in your mind, and you'd like to know more about how to be an effective, inspirational and empowering business leader, or perhaps you might even just need to get your mojo back because you have been that tired and frustrated recently through all of this unrelentless pressure, then take some time out for you. Take some time out and spend an hour with us having a look at your leadership and your business and taking advantage of our Business Leader Success Audit. The address is on the screen where you can request your Business Leadership Success Audit, and you can do that through www.distinctiveleadership.com.au, or you can also request it at www.leadersuccess.com.au. No, sorry, that's .com. www.leadersuccess.com. So request your leadership audit. Spend an hour on your business. It's totally complimentary and it's totally confidential. Now, the worst case scenario is that you will walk away after spending time on your business with some great information that you then have the opportunity to do something with. I look forward to talking to you next week at the same time, in the same place, for a leadership of team. So I trust that you've got some really valuable insights out of today's webinar and some key things that you can implement straight away into your business. So have a fantastic week. Enjoy building on your leadership style and creating your leadership legacy, and I look forward to talking to you next week. I'm Julie Hyde, we're Distinctive Leadership, creating leadership driven profits. Have a fantastic day.